Kim Bales. I'm president of the Bailey County Farm Bureau. I'm calling to order this meeting of the annual convention of Bailey County Farm Bureau. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you'll have a lot of education and a lot of fun and a good meal at the end. At this time, I'd like to give an invocation blessing this meal, so if everybody could bow. Our Father in heaven, thank you for the many blessings thou hast given us. Thank you so much, God, for the abundant moisture that you have seen fit to bring our way this time. We ask that our brothers and sisters along the Gulf Coast, that you see fit to be with them through this time of trial and show them the right way and help them get through this huge crisis that they're going through on the coast. We thank you, Lord, for the many blessings. We thank you for this dinner, for this gathering of the agriculture community and the folks of our community. We ask that you be with everybody on a safe trip home afterwards. At this time, we ask that you be with everybody and make sure everybody's okay going home. In Christ's name we pray, amen. Kurt, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, let's have just a short moment of silence to just reflect on the blessings that we do have and our future. At this time, I would like to introduce the board members that are present for the Bailey County EMS. I would also like for the wives of those board members to come and join with the board. Judy, Lori, that's y'all. Robin, if you could come on up. Thank you. Alicia, could you come up? Okay, at this time, I want to introduce myself. I'm Kim Bales. This is my wife, Lori. I wanted to introduce y'all to all of the wives and friends of the board members. We really appreciate what they do going through and pushing us through to get things done. So what I've got a pink rose that I'd like to present to Lori. The vice president this year is Kenneth Kittrell, and he's brought his friend Alicia, and then we've got as far as the rest of the board, we've got Donnie Puckett and his wife Judy, and to keep Jerry Don Glover and Kirk Lewis out of trouble, we'll send a pink rose home with them at the end of the night. Also, I would like to introduce our manager for the Bailey County Farm Bureau, Trey Thompson, and his wife Robin. And so at this time, also we do have Corey Hunt is one of our board members, unable to come because he's flying a spray plane, trying to make all this 3 and 4 bale cotton, having to spray picks on it because of all of this rain. We've also got, who else is missing? Oh, yes, Landon Nichols. Landon Nichols. He is our secretary, and I'm sure he was here tonight, but was unable to make it. So at this time, would you please give the board a big hand? Okay, another one, some of our backbone is our secretaries. Every one of y'all know them from coming in, Carla and Yvette, and so y'all stand, take a hand over here. If it weren't for these two things like this and trying to keep your insurance straight and all that they do, their memberships, all that they do, we really appreciate their work. Also, we've got 2 of our agents here. Diana has been doing us an awesome job, and Heather. So y'all give them a hand. Also, Scott Miller was unable to come tonight. All 3 of these are doing an excellent job and taking care of their customers and just doing an awesome job. Also, I'd like to introduce, we've got some guests tonight that we're very proud to have here. We have our district director, Dan Smith, and his wife, Rita Kay. Dan is the District 2 director, and he's the one that is our representative to the state. So we do work through him a whole lot, and he has been very great to work through. We also have Gene Hall and Ernette from Waco, and when I introduce him, he is going to be our speaker. When I introduce him here after a bit, I'll give you a complete bio on him at that time. But Gene, we really thank you for making the trip to Waco, just to come up and make this appearance before our little county. Also, we've got Todd Thompson and his wife Janie. Todd went through the ropes. He's what started on the board in Swisher County, became a board president, and now he's our field person for all this area. So Todd is the one that kind of keeps us straight on the logistics and kind of keeps us going the right direction on it. So could you please give all these guests a hand? Yvette, do we have a quorum present? We do have a quorum present. We do have enough members here. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to declare the quorum. Moved by Jerry Don, seconded by Kenneth. So we do have a quorum to go ahead and perform business during this meeting. Mr. Vice President, could I get you to read the 2016 minutes?
All right, the 2016 Bailey County Farm Bureau Annual Convention was held on Saturday, September 10th, 2016 at the Bailey County Electric Meeting Room. There were approximately 101 voting members plus children in attendance for a total of 150 plates served. The meeting was called to order 6:09 p.m. by Kirk Lewis. The invocation was shortly followed by Don Puckett. The pledge, a moment of silence in remembrance, was led by the Girl Scouts of Muleshoe. The Bailey County Farm Bureau Board of Directors was introduced as followed: Kirk Lewis and Donald Puckett. The office staff was introduced: Agency Manager Trey Thompson, Agent Heather Garcia, Agent Diana Gardia, Agent Scott Miller, ISR Carla Estrada, County Secretary Yvette Garcia. Guests were Todd Thompson, Field Representative Lauren Decker. Guest speaker was introduced. Todd Thompson spoke about the district and gave a field report. Trey Thompson announced the board members with terms expiring were Landon Nichols, Jerry Don Glover, Dusty Clayton. Members seeking re-election were Landon Nichols and Jerry Don Glover. With no floor nominations, the directors elected were Landon Nichols and Jerry Don Glover. No new business was announced. Trey thanked Granddaddies, the Muleshoe Girl Scouts, and FFA students for their help. The meal was served. Todd introduced the guest speaker. Lauren Decker, Miss Decker, delivered a speech regarding agriculture. Door prizes and the grand prizes were handed out. Kirk Lewis concluded the meeting, and the meeting was adjourned at 8:01 p.m.
Thank you, Kenneth. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes? Motion made by Kenneth and seconded by Kirk. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. We do accept that. At this time, I will give an abbreviated form of the year-end financial statement. As far as our expenses and all, we have stayed in a very good financial condition this year. Our total assets are over $132,000. We have been able to stay in the black on everything at your Farm Bureau office, and everything is going good financially. Is there a motion to accept the financial report? By Donnie and seconded by Jerry Don. The financial report is accepted. Thank you. Okay, at this time I want to ask our district field rep, Todd Thompson, to come up and let y'all kind of, or tell y'all about what's going on district-wide to the statewide.
Thank you, Kim. I shall be brief. We'll just give you a quick report on the membership numbers. Texas Farm Bureau, statewide, we ended our membership year October 31st, 2016 with 519,119 family members. So you're part of 500 plus thousand people in the state of Texas that are members of Texas Farm Bureau. Currently, we stand at 452,956 as of today, meaning we've got some ground to make up between now and the end of October when our membership year will end again. So we want to get to that 519, 120 or better. That's our goal. District-wide, there's 16 counties that Mr. Smith represents as our District 2 Director. Across those counties, we're currently in a loss of 402 members. And Bailey County Farm Bureau ended last membership year with 1,155 members. And we are at 1,045 today. So as Carla and Yvette call you and remind you to renew your membership, we need 111 in this county to have a gain prior to October 31st. So that's our membership report. Thank you for being members, and we just ask that you continue to do so. Kim, over to you.
Thank you, Todd. At this time, I will ask our manager, Trey Thompson, to come to the microphone and kind of explain what's going on the local level and kind of what's going on with the insurance side.
I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. We like to have this county convention to show you, our members, that your membership, your business, your loyalty is greatly appreciated. Also want to thank our board members. We have a great group of board members here in this community. They really care about the community. I really appreciate them spending some time and donating a lot of their efforts as well. I also want to thank our staff, Carla and Yvette. They've both been our county secretaries for a while now. They do a great job. And we all really appreciate everything that they do as well. I also want to thank our agents. We have a great group of agents here in Bailey County. Dinah Gardia. Dinah's been here about 3 years. She has had many accomplishments with Farm Bureau. She's currently ranked one of the top agents in our district, so she does a great job. Scott Miller, not able to be here. Scott's starting, I think, his 3rd year now. Done a great job as well. We're very, very lucky to have him with us. And Heather Garcia, been here about 2 years now. Very glad to have her as well. Also does a great job. Todd kind of went into the membership report. We are consistently around 90% on membership renewal percentage, which is a great accomplishment. Like Todd said, all the credit goes to obviously y'all, the secretary staff, the agents, and I think Todd said we're about 1,155 members right now in Bailey County. We have 126 new members in Bailey County through the month of August. So Bailey County is doing very well right now. So I also want to kind of bring to y'all's attention, anybody that has a homeowner's policy with us, you will be getting a letter in the mail before your policy renews. Basically, this letter is going to give you a few options as far as coverages, as far as deductibles, things like that. There's going to be some situations to where you might be able to lower your premium depending on what you decide to do with that. The best thing to do is just, if you have questions on it, go ahead and contact your agents, contact us, and we'll be able to kind of help you decide the best option for you. Again, I just want to thank all you members for your loyalty and your membership. And if you ever need anything or have any questions, feel free to contact myself, contact Carly, Yvette, Scott, Dinah, Heather, and we'll be able to help you out the best we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. Bailey County EMS went through some changes several years ago, and the state kind of changed us as far as our managers and all, and instead of having one in-house manager, they actually put a manager over us, Cochran County and Hockley County. And Trey has made this thing work out really well, and it's been good. It's been good for all of us. So he's been working with the agents, and you guys have got a good thing going down at the Farm Bureau. Thank you, Todd, or Trey. I'm going to go over, I'll turn the mic over to Jerry Don. We're going to talk a little bit about resolutions right quick before we go into the elections. Now, what we do at all the conferences all over the state, every county conference, we talk about resolutions. And that is where you can make your voice heard, and we will take it to Austin, and we will take it to Washington. We will take it to the Farm Bureau and bring that resolution out and try to get things changed. A lot of resolutions on WOTUS, on the water, surface water. There's a lot of resolutions on ag chemicals. There's several different resolutions that are out there. And Jerry Don's our resolutions committeeman, and I think he's got a few words to say.
We had a District 2 resolution meeting in Lubbock on the 17th, and I thought it was more important for me to go to California and watch a grandson play baseball, and so I missed it, Paul, and I'm sorry I did. But really, if you got any resolutions, we need those resolutions in our office before about the 20th of October. We got to have them in state by the 27th. And I've got one in particular that I'd like to visit with you about, and I'm glad that Hall's here so he can hear what I want to say about it. The LIP program was a... Is it not loud enough? Thank you. I'm sorry about that. The LIP program is part of the farm bill that was written a few years ago, and it has really saved agriculture across the state because of the drought that we had a few years ago. And that drought lasted for a few years. So that was really a great program. The LIP program is going to come into effect again in the next few months with all the hurricane that's happening across the coastal part of our state. We had a disaster here a couple of years ago, and I know I don't even have to name what it is because you know the snowstorm we had was pitiful. And a lot of cattle was lost, and it really helps. It helped a lot of producers, but it also put a hindrance to a lot of producers. There was a mandatory mortality rate that has to be set by the Farm Bill, and the state committee, which I was on at that time, we had to set a percentage of mortality rate for every livestock of any kind. It don't matter if it's turkeys or guineas or cattle, pigs, whatever. And then, you know, you think, well, yeah, you have a normal mortality rate. Everybody has a normal mortality rate of some kind. But whenever you get to talking about losses like we had with the snowstorm that we had, some of the dairies, one in particular here in this county, has 6,000 head dairy. And they had to lose 5% of their dairy cattle before they got paid for any of them. Well, 5% of 6,300 head. And those head probably had a value of 2,500 or more. So, you know, they had to make that up. And dairies don't have a death loss like a normal one. I mean, it's whenever they get the cattle, yes, they might have a few, but they don't have very many. They lost 316 head, and all they got paid for was 16 head. And there's other dairies that had lost the same, feedlots lost some. And because of their amount of 50,000 head feedlot, you know, they didn't qualify for any losses. And I think that we need to have a resolution that the state board can take to Washington and say, hey, you know, we need to do away with that mandatory mortality rate, because what you lost during those, you know, if it was a flood, what you lost during the snowstorm, the day you hit the snowstorm, you should be able to get collection on those that you lost during that period of time. Same way with the hurricane that's hitting now. Those people, a lot of those cattle will never be found. Never be found. You get down there and all those trees and all that water and all that, and they're washed every which way, you'll never find them. But they lost those during that flood. They didn't lose them. They lost their normal earlier. They don't have to should count that. But anyway, that is one thing I've been working on for the last 2 or 3 years, to try to get that changed to where that normal mortality doesn't come into play. What comes into play is what you lost from the day they had the disaster till the disaster was over. If you have any resolutions, really, any thoughts that you need to think on, you know, just come by the office and maybe discuss it with some of the people in our office, and maybe call me, and we will be glad to get those resolutions presented to the resolutions. I think that it's the 27th. When is it, November the 6th when we have a resolution?
Yes.
November the 6th is when it is, but we need to have them prior in October so that we can have those brought up to date and make sure. A lot of resolutions that are made, I've been on that committee once or twice, and a lot of resolutions that are made and not having very much thought in them. If you go back into the resolutions book that we have, that's the state resolutions and a USA resolutions for the national. A lot of those are already covered. And we found that a lot of things we had to work on was something that was already in the book and already covered. But if you have any, we would really be proud that you could bring those up to us. Either call me or get me involved in it so that we can have something to send to the office so we can meet with those on November. Appreciate it. Thank you much.
Thank you, Jerry Don. It's been brought up to my attention that I guess I've just got too many Baileys in my life, because apparently I was calling the organization Bailey County EMS, which I've been a member of for years. I apologize to Bailey County Farm Bureau. I also got Bailey Bales in my life. So anyway, just if I make another mistake like that, just please overlook it. Is there any nominations off of the floor as far as resolutions? Is there anybody got a question that they would like to do in a resolution form for us to work with and take to the state? It's your opportunity to voice your opinions if you've got something to voice. Okay, I would entertain a motion that nominations for resolutions close. By Kenneth and seconded by Jerry Don. We'll move on from the resolutions at this time. This year, my term, Kenneth Kittrell's term, and Dean Johnson's term of office comes up. And Kenneth and I both are willing to work with y'all again, work on the board of directors again. Dean, with some of his business and things that he's got going on, he just didn't feel like he could devote enough time anymore to it. So what we'd like to do tonight is we passed out the ballots, and they've got my name and Kenneth's on there. We're also going to open up the floor to nominations off of the floor. So if there's anybody in our midst that would like to work with the board, it is not a paid position. It is very satisfying as far as getting to work with the agriculture community, and we do provide some of the travel to the different events and this and that. And do I have any nominations off the floor for a board member? Once again, do I have any nominations off the floor for the board members? Okay, if y'all would, just go ahead and mark your ballots, and we'll have some come around and pick up the ballots and for the officers' election next year. At this time, yes, sir.
We just have two nominations. We can do that by acclamation.
We can do that by acclamation. The motion's been made that we elect Kim Bales and Kenneth Kittrell by acclamation. This will be a group vote since there's not any other nominees on there. So those that approve Kim Bales and Kenneth Kittrell by acclamation, hold up your hand and say aye. Those opposed? Well, we barely got it, Kenneth. I think we're back on. The ayes have it, and I guess we'll be doing this another year. Okie doke. At this time, I told our folks that we were going to start probably serving about 7:15, and we're getting pretty close to that. So we'll go ahead and start serving the meal at this time. Toward the last of the meal, when we're kind of finishing up, we do have a film that Todd has brought us about Farm Bureau, and then we'll have our guest speaker, Gene Hall, and then at the end of it, we do have door prizes. Everybody will have a chance with your ticket to win a door prize, and then we do have one grand door prize where all the tickets will be put back in, and we do have a 32-inch smart LED TV. So y'all enjoy, and they will start getting the food served ASAP. Thank you. Let's give the Myers a big hand. They've really made a nice place and made this place available to us. Y'all go ahead with your meals. Just keep on getting drinks, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and start with our highlight of the evening. This evening we have Gene Hall. He's the Director of Public Relations at Texas Farm Bureau. He was appointed the Director of Texas Farm Bureau Communications Division on December 1st, 1990. He is directly responsible for Farm Bureau's communications efforts and for working on a daily basis with the news media. And by the way, thanks Channel 6 for being here. We're glad. You might need to talk to Gene. His responsibilities also include Texas Farm Bureau publications, internet communications, video services, the TFB radio network, the newsletter service, the graphic services, as well as media relations. Prior to his appointment as Public Relations Director, Hall was Director of Radio and Television from 1980 to 1990. Under his leadership, the Public Relations Division has received several national awards. He joined the Texas Farm Bureau staff in 1978 as an Assistant Director of Radio and Television. Before coming to Texas Farm Bureau, Hall was a farm director at radio station KTXO in Sherman and a news reporter and anchor for KFDM TV in Beaumont. Raised on a farm in Newton County, he received his Bachelor of Science degree in Agriculture Journalism from Texas A&M University in 1976. We won't hold that against you up here in tech country. Hall is a member of the Public Relations Society of American, PRSA. He received the PRSA's prestigious accredited to Public Relations ARP design in January of 1995 and was named the PRSA Fellow in October 2003. Hall lives in Waco with his wife Ernette. They are parents of 3 sons, Roger, Stephen, and Chad. They have a granddaughter, Madison, and a grandson, Hunter. And Farm Bureau has become a family tradition for them. One of his sons is a field man. Which county?
He has the Dallas area.
The Dallas area. He's a field man in the Dallas area, so it runs in the family. So I'd like to introduce Gene Hall. Thank you.
Kim, thank you very much. And that's one of the things I like to do. People don't understand just exactly how much of an effort and how much goes into planning one of these and being the chief executive officer of a county farm bureau. So please, a great big round of applause for Kim and the work that he's done in organizing this event. A great big Texas A&M and Texas Farm Bureau howdy to all of you. And I got to know one thing. Does the south end of that mule really point toward College Station? Is that true on the courthouse? I've always heard that. So I don't know. I love coming to County Farm Bureau annual meetings, and I appreciate the invitation to be here tonight. I know I'm all that's standing between you and the door prizes. I won't take too long, but I did come a long way. So what I'm hoping to do is kind of instill in you the pride I feel about having worked for this organization for nearly 40 years now. And I hope as a member, and I'm a member too, that you feel some of that as well. I grew up in country that's very different from what we see around us here. Now, you've got a lot of rain, and there's really no place quite like West Texas when it's getting rain and blooming like this. But my wife and I are dead. She came along for the ride, 6 long hours with me, so she's not tired of me yet. We know that. We both grew up in the Piney Woods, she in Jasper County, me in Newton County. And I grew up in a little community called Bonweir. Now, Bonweir is small. It may be the only community in Texas with both city limit signs on the same post. It is the easternmost thing in the state of Texas, in the middle of some of the thickest woods you have ever seen in your life. You've heard of the Big Thicket in East Texas. Well, that wasn't us. The folks in the Big Thicket were kind of afraid to come into our part of the woods. It reminds me of what the great country comedian Jerry Clower once said. We live so far back in the woods that we had to walk towards town to go hunting. It was that far back. Now, back home in East Texas, we had this couple. Everyone called them Uncle Elmer and Aunt Lucy. And their battles with one another became somewhat legendary. You know, there was lots of love there, but also a lot of arguments. And they were having some problems, and they decided to go see the young preacher in their community. And he figured out pretty quick that what was going on here was a lack of affection. So he jumped out of his chair and he ran around the desk and he gave Aunt Lucy this great big hug. And he sat back down and said, "Now, Elmer, Lucy needs that at least once a day." And Elmer leaned back and thought about that for a minute. He says, "Well, okay, I can bring her in Monday through Thursday, but I fish on Fridays." Aunt Lucy broke her leg one time, and Uncle Elmer called 911. And the operator said they'd send someone out right away. "What's the address?" I said, "We live on Eucalyptus Road." The operator said, "Can you spell that for me?" There was a long pause, and Elmer said, "How about if I drag her over to Oak Street and you pick her up there?" Uncle Elmer once had a cow dog that he truly loved. I bet there's some guys in the audience today that have cow dogs that they think a lot of, kind of members of the family. He had that cow dog, and it finally died. He pampered it for years, and then he went to the preacher and asked the preacher if the dog could have a proper church funeral. And the preacher said, "No, Elmer, we can't have services for the animal in church, but you know, there's one of those new churches down the road. Maybe they'll do something for your dog." And Uncle Elmer said, "Well, I'll go right now. Do you think $10,000 is enough to offer as a donation for the service?" And the preacher then said, "Why didn't you tell me that dog was a Baptist?" Now, the County Farm Bureau is the most important, the most indispensable unit in our organization. And I thank you all for all you've done for Farm Bureau and to promote agriculture. Now, engineers can build a pretty tall building these days, but not without the proper foundation. And the County Farm Bureau, county boards of directors, county presidents are the foundation of what has become the most important and the largest and most successful farm organization in history. To those of you who make your living in the fields, I don't have to tell you that it's been a difficult year. Costs are high and our prices are low. And getting decent rain has come or gone throughout the state. We're getting ready to build a farm bill, to put one together. We're studying the aftermath of a trying session of the Texas legislature. And we know it's been a difficult year. And the legislature was in town this spring. People say that no man, woman, or child is safe when the legislature's in session. But topping our priorities once again this year was the reform of our state's eminent domain laws. We had a good bill introduced and supported by the Senate, one that would ensure good faith offers in eminent domain proceedings. Now, if you've ever had a pipeline or utility line pushed through your property and you've been lowballed by a corporate entity or a county or city government, you know how important this is. Unfortunately, the bill that many in Austin wanted Farm Bureau to agree with was so watered down we could not agree, and we had to pull out. And we are certainly not giving up. The last reform we got through the legislature took 3 sessions. We will be back, and we will achieve eminent domain reform, Mr. Smith. We are, however, extremely proud of our accomplishments in this legislative session. The Ag Lien bill passed with Farm Bureau support. This means there are now real protections for farmers who have their crops stored in facilities that can go bankrupt. And farmers can take out a lien to protect themselves. In the legislature, like in football, playing defense is as often as important as playing offense. And we stopped some bad bills. Regardless about how you feel about killing wild hogs with warfarin, a poison product approved by the EPA, the state of Texas, or for that matter, the city of Muleshoe, if they were to do it, should not have any say about something that's already been approved by the people that have the responsibility for doing that. So, Farm Bureau played a role in killing a bad bill. We're watching developments in Washington. For the first time in decades, Farm Bureau and farmers and ranchers have a relationship with the Environmental Protection Agency. They listen when we talk. They're actually following through on things that we recommend. Part of that is pulling back this Waters of the United States ruling. We call it WOTUS. Had very little to do with clean water. It was about the federal government seizing control of every square foot of land in the United States, regulating every bit of private property that exists, regulating beyond their mandate by the law, and the rule was so arbitrary that many in agriculture could be in violation without even knowing it and paying fines of more than 5 figures a day. Nothing reasonable about that. Farmers and ranchers want to protect the land and the water, and we do. But there was nothing reasonable about WOTUS. We have good relationships with Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue and our old friend Rick Perry at the Energy Department. We are working with the administration in efforts like this, and we do have some concerns. Trade remains the life's blood of agriculture, and as we move to replace the Trans-Pacific Partnership, we worry that we've abandoned a good part of the world to China, and we're going to have to get those markets back. We're in the middle right now of a renegotiation of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. We've got to have that market too. A 20-year-old agreement can always be renegotiated, but the basic precepts and concepts of NAFTA are very important to us. Canada and Mexico combined are our biggest trade market, and we have to have it. The founding fathers and pioneers of Farm Bureau had a vision that led them to create this organization, and they created it to stand the test of time. Credibility is what, as your director of communications, I sell every day. Farm Bureau and you have earned that credibility by speaking frankly with the media and the political process, by endorsing candidates with responsible positions on the issues. Grassroots is a word, 2 words, that's overused in politics today. Everyone can claim it, but Farm Bureau can prove it. Farm Bureau can back it up. We are a true grassroots organization with a mighty voice for you in agriculture. We have resources, a large membership. Now over 500,000 members provides financial support to conduct important programs and hire one of the best professional staffs in the business. That is not the secret of Farm Bureau's success, though. You are the secret, and we would not be successful without you. And we should never lose sight of that as a membership organization. Your Farm Bureau membership buys a lot, but when you back up your membership by being at events like this, by giving of your volunteer time, that's when a county Farm Bureau can really become special. One of the things that we worry about is that each organization born in this country is a little further away from the farm and understands what goes on there just a little less. But farmers are speaking out now and telling the story, reaching out to a nation that still respects agriculture. A couple that had been married for 75 years was celebrating their anniversary with hundreds of friends and family. And the old gentleman, who was over 90, got up very shakily and raised his hand in his glass and said, "Sweetheart, when we were first married, I did not know if this would work out. But over the years, you have proven yourself to be tried and true." And then she said, "What?" "You are tried and true," he yelled at her very loudly. She yelled back, "What?" So once again, at the top of his voice, he yelled, "Tried and true." And her eyes flashed, and she looked back at him and said, "Well, I'm tired of you too." You might say they had a communications problem. And the Farm Bureau of the 21st century has had to learn how to communicate quickly and effectively. We use all kinds of tools to communicate now. Website for teachers, I hope you can get a look at it, for the media, for other Texans. It's at texasfarmbureau.org. It's information central for Farm Bureau members. Our service programs, our Ford vehicle rebate, all of these things can be found there. And as I try to absorb these many changes in communications technology, I often wonder what my own grandfather would have thought about all of it. He's been gone for 23 years now, still missing. We buried him in 1993 at the age of 101. He was born in 1892. He cut railroad ties at the age of 13 to help feed his poor family and haul them with mules to the sawmill. Being a farmer was his dream, and he brought the first tractor to Newton County, the first pickup hay baler. He was 11 years old when the Wright brothers flew, and we watched together when he was 77 and I was 15 as men walked on the moon. All of the things he saw, all of the things he has witnessed, and still we are not doing enough to help the farmers and ranchers, the people of the land, the rural families stay on the land. This has been a very tough year. Maybe I can illustrate it with this story. There was once a young man who enrolled in Texas A&M to study agriculture. And his academic advisor asked him why he had chosen that field of study. "I dream of making millions and millions of dollars in farming, just like my dad." Dollars in farming is no sir, but he always dreamed of it. All of us in agriculture have our dreams, and the current economic situation has really been very hard on those dreams. We've got big problems in agriculture, and I'm sometimes frustrated in my job because a big part of it is convincing the public that agriculture's problems on the verge of becoming everyone else's problems. A nation with plenty of food has many problems. A nation with not enough food only has one problem. Hunger gets your attention like nothing else can. And we've got now 2% of our population standing between everyone else and that. There's a limit to how many burdens we can place on farm and ranch families and still expect that there be plenty of food. That young man in my story is real, in a way. He represents all the children of farm and ranch families. He's not dreaming of making millions, but he's dreaming of making a decent living on the land. But it's entirely likely that he or his sister, the children of farm families in this area and elsewhere, might be thinking about a career many miles away, in Dallas, Houston, or New York City. In Farm Bureau, we understand that that's a question of national survival and national security, being able to grow our own food, staying on the land and earning good incomes. That's national security. There was a little boy that came home from school one day, and he was excited about landing a part in the school play. He said, "Daddy, Daddy, I got a part in the school play." And he said, "That's great, Billy. What part did you get?" "I'm playing the husband." The father showed disappointment and puts the boy down on the floor. And sensing that, the little boy said, "Gosh, Dad, what's wrong?" "I'm really sorry, son. Maybe next year you'll get a speaking part." And just who gets the speaking part for agriculture gets to be a major concern to me. When times are bad for farmers and ranchers, all sorts of people and organizations line up claiming to speak for agriculture. Politicians often fight for that role. Even some environmental groups now say they should speak for agriculture. The fox is telling everybody, "I'll take care of the hen house, but don't turn your back on him." In Farm Bureau, we have room for everyone who loves the land, cherishes property rights, believes in responsible stewardship, and the wise use of God's resources. Farm Bureau is the place for you if you believe that this way of life should be preserved for future generations. If you believe that the children of farm families deserve the opportunity to earn a living on the farm, we can work on that together. If we are proud of Farm Bureau, and I know you are, why don't we do more to share the experience? We save money on Farm Bureau services like a $500 discount on that new Ford vehicle. Why not share that with a neighbor? We know that Farm Bureau is everywhere it needs to be, in Austin, Washington, in the courts, online, and in the news, protecting the interests of farmers and ranchers. I urge you to work on Farm Bureau membership. Tell folks, Farm Bureau works for me. It will work for you too. We all have our dreams for a strong and prosperous agriculture, for a better world. My dreams these days revolve around a 7-year-old granddaughter and a 4-year-old grandson. And I dream of a world of possibilities for Madison and Hunter. And I hope they'll live in a land that continues to have the world's safest and most abundant and affordable food. We could lose that if we take it for granted. Many children born around the world in the few minutes that we are together tonight will not have that. I dream that all of our children, yours and mine, can live in a future that respects those that grow our food. And my dream for my grandchildren is that they will come to understand the dignity of hard work. And that's the legacy of their great-great-grandfather. My father and mother always made sure that I had one of those up-close and personal relationships with work, hard work. They exposed me to it almost every day from an early age. And on our farm, I became quite well acquainted with it. I understand later what a great gift they had given me. And the founders of Texas Farm Bureau worked very hard too. They left behind the gift of this organization to all of us and to the people of Texas. And my career in Texas Farm Bureau will end in only a few years, but I'll always be a member. And it's our organization now, and we have to take care of it so that it can take care of rural Texas. Good night, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Gene. Well, is everybody full? Once again, I want to thank the FFA for helping us out. FFA has been presented a membership with Farm Bureau. They are a member of Farm Bureau as an organization, along with the fire department. The fire department's a member of the organization. At this time, I'd open up the floor for any discussion. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up or discuss? I just want to make mention there was one write-in on it, on our election. I will visit with that gentleman and see if there's any interest there, and we might appoint him to be a board member if he is interested in it. So anyway, I look at all these gifts over here, and I'm wondering if it's time to adjourn. Anybody ready to adjourn? Okay, well, I tell you what I do. I need all the kiddos from probably about 2 to 12 to come up here, big enough to walk, and help deliver gifts. So have I got any volunteers or kiddos to come help deliver gifts? I've got 2. Here comes some more. All right. So we'll get started. Get your numbers ready, and we will get started with the door prizes. Okay, you guys just line up over here. Folks coming around picking up the white member update sheets during this. So, okay, just get in line with whatever you've got here, and come draw a ticket. Okay. My glasses. Okay. The first ticket ends with 318. 318. Alex Barana. So you need to take all the way to the back. Okay, who's next? Okay, here we've got some nut drivers, a set of nut drivers. And she thinks I'm a nut, so Lori Bales. Okay. Take the Lori. Lori, hold up your hand. Okay. The next one is a 20-piece bungee cord set. And that is going to Lydia Campos. When you guys come back, get back in the back of the line and start over. Okay, here is a Texas Farm Bureau tape measure. Melba Bradshaw. Okay, here we have a sign. Welcome, sit long, talk much, laugh often. Okay, and the winner is David Cisneros. Okay, who's next? Okay, and here we've got a work light, LED flashlight. And the winner is Maria Garcia, right there on the front. Okay, who's next? Here we've got a hummingbird feeder to feed all these hummingbirds. Oh, name that. There you go, Carla. Andy Martinez. Okay, next we got a Yeti 32-ounce cup. Okay, draw a name down. Jackson Myers. Okay, next, Mr. Tanner Bales has got a 9-volt flashlight. LED. And the winner is Jesus Barrera. Jesus Barrera. Got a flashlight. Oh. This one is a Farm Bureau bank bag. And a rain gauge. And the winner is Ernest Wrong. Ernest, where you at? Right in the middle, baby. All right, guys. This will make Mama happy with you. It's pretty little charm with the state of Texas in it to hang around your neck. And who do we got here? We have got Sylvia Compost. See, she's waving her hand right over there. Oh, as y'all kids deliver, come on back and get in line because we've got more things to deliver. Okay, here we have a cross with a covered wagon on it. A really neat little cross. And Nancy Leg. Right over here. There we go. Okay, what do we got next? Oh, we have a Black & Decker screwdriver. That's a nice one. Okay, and who's getting the screwdriver? Ricardo Lopez. Okay, we've got a little decorative cup, little fancy cup there. Alberto Nicholas. Alberto? Okay, we've got a rain gauge and a little Swiss Army knife, little pocket Farm Bureau do-it-all tool there. Deborah Jennings. Okay, we've got a cap and a rain gauge for Curtis Hunt. Got a coffee cup and a rain gauge Santos Borges. Borjas. Okay, what do we got here? We got a little 10 Ways to Love sign. And the winner is Brittany Sturmer. Brittany, there she comes around the corner. Okay, what do we got here, partner? We've got a Texas flag set. Okay. Rose Buckner. Rose, where you at? There. Okay. We've got a Case International cap and a rain gauge. Jose Vidania. Jose. Okay. We got a pen and a rain gauge and a cap for Veronica Rodriguez. Okay, Veronica, keep your hand up till our little guy gets back there. All right, here's another Yeti cup, 32-ounce Yeti cup. Oh, no, this is rigged. This has got to be rigged. Go give it to your daddy. No, he can't read. We're good there. Okay, we've got another sign, the welcome sign, and it is going to Marshall Cook. Okay. What do we got here? Golf balls. Okay. You golfers ready? It'll sink up in the mud now. Sharon A.G. Okay, now we've got a coffee cup and a knife and a rain gauge. I'll let you go. That way it's honest. Leonard Gonzalez. Right on the front. Okay, now we've got a little plastic cup. Sounds like it's got something in it. Got a surprise in it. For John Villalobos. John, hold up your hand. Okay, now we've got a flashlight and a coffee cup and a rain gauge. We hope you guys get to use these rain gauges a lot. Mike Sladen. You're welcome, Commissioner. Make sure to put that rain gauge up down there. What do we got here? We got an Uncle Henry knife. And George Louis Rodriguez. Okay. What do we got? We have a Farm Bureau bag with a rain gauge and a pin for Ronaldo Zamora. Right here. Okay. This is the last one. I don't think you care. We'll just leave it. Those two that's on there. Some toe hooks and toe tie downs. Valentina Mata. Right. Okay. Okay, this is for a $40 membership, a free membership to Farm Bureau, worth $40. We need more hands. I'll take one thing. Louis Wayne, you're a Farm Bureau member another year, buddy. Okay. Go take that to the chef. Okay, what do we got here? We've got a thermometer. Jesse Castorina. Right in the middle. Okay. Here's another membership. Another membership, $40 yearly membership. Ben Rose. Right here. Right on the front. Oh, looky here. This one's cool. It's a fancy toolbox with American flag on it. Belen Garcia. Garza. Okay, we have another $40 membership. Just when your membership is due, just take this certificate down. The girls will take care of it and get everything taken care of. Luis Perez. Okay. What do we got? Okay, here is a Farm Bureau cooler. Manuel Cardenas. Way back there. Okay. And now we have a little gadget catcher says, never get too busy making a living that you forget to make a life. And Rebecca Mata. Way back there. Okay. Have we got one more. One more membership. One more $40 membership. Okay. Nadine Hawkins. We got a. Oh, we're doing okay. Yeah, this. Yes, I do want to make a quick presentation. Everybody's going to be in for the drawing on the 32-inch smart TV. Even if you want a prize already, everybody's going to be in for it. But I do want to make a presentation. Gene, we totally appreciate you coming, and appreciate what you've done for Farm Bureau, and I think everybody thoroughly enjoyed having you here. So. There's some Frisbees up here. If some of you kids, when you leave, if you want a Frisbee, there's some Frisbees up here. And we're going to do the drawing. Mr. Dan Smith from Lockney, our district director. And he does say he accepts tips. But let's see. Yeah, let's see. Cassie Kirby. Where are you, Cassie? Cassie Kirby? Is she back there in the... There she is. Okay. You just want a TV? We're not going to bring it to you. You got to come get this one. So when it's over. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good time tonight. One thing that I am very proud of with our county, we're a small county. We're probably about 7,000 people roughly in the population in this county, about a little over 5,000 in the city itself. But in our region, other than the larger high population counties in the region, we are one of the largest farm bureaus in our region as far as memberships. Also, we always, I've had several people that come and then some people that make the other county conventions, and I think it's something, it shows y'all's interest, because a lot of times we have one of the biggest county conventions in the area. So I think y'all ought to give yourselves a hand. Anything y'all need with Farm Bureau, membership side, insurance side, be sure to give us a holler, and these folks can take care of you on it and take care of your needs. So at this time, I would take a motion to adjourn by Kenneth Kittrell to adjourn, and seconded by Donnie. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, you're adjourned till next year. Thank you.